My name's Andy Rawls, and I work here in this shop as a professional furniture maker. My wife is Emily Rawls. We've got 3 kids, Johnny, Judd, and June. We've been with the bridge since it started. I've been a part of setup crews since the bridge started. I get the privilege of driving the box truck every once in a while. It's kind of sketchy. My wife and I had the opportunity for a couple years to lead small group with our good friends Mike and Loretta Malone.
My name is Don Rawls. Obviously, I'm Andy's dad, and I have a wife, Dinah, and 2 boys. Andy's the youngest of the 2 boys. I retired 5.5 years ago from my job as a gastroenterologist, which I practiced for about 35 years. We moved to Bernie at that time to be with family and grandkids, and we've been here at the bridge since its inception. I grew up in a strong Southern Baptist home, and when the doors opened, we were there. Every Sunday morning, every Sunday night, every Wednesday night, we were at church. Every time they had a crusade, we were there. So my parents were very involved in our churches as I was growing up, and that just carried over to my youth and my adult life. That was their example that led me into being active and to being a part of the church and realizing the importance of community.
Growing up, we were heavily involved with the church. I remember going to Sunday school often. I remember being a part of my parents' Sunday schools, and I remember my dad being involved in the church. I believe he was a deacon, and I came to the Lord and got baptized at a fairly young age. I was around 8. I just remember very clearly that my parents never forced the church on us. They never forced us to be a Christian, to have faith, but they always led a great example of what it looked like. My dad was a great example of what it looked like to be a Christian husband, a Christian father, to run a household in that way, and I always had that instilled in me, and I think they realized that we had to find our own way, my brother and I, to our faith, and even though there was moments, times and periods in my life where I was distant from the Lord, I still had that foundation. One great memory I have as a young kid of my dad is, and I went downstairs and the lights were off, the house was dark, and I looked down the hallway to my dad's study, and his lights are on, the door's closed, and I remember going back there to see what he was doing, and I opened the door, and I see his Bible. He's sitting on his couch. I see his Bible next to him, and he looks like he's sleeping. I'm like, I don't know, what's he doing, And I remember going in there and sitting with him, and as I got older, I realized he was having his quiet time. Like, he was meeting with the Lord, and somehow God woke me up, sit me down there, and that was impactful to me as I got older and had a family and had kids, and I realized, like, that was it was just a quiet, humble service to the Lord. He woke up, he prayed over his family, and I think even in times when I had a distant relationship with the Lord, that foundation was still very deeply instilled in me. So,
church is really important, and I look back on the church's influence on me and the church's influence on my family, and you have to be absolutely clear that it's not the church's responsibility to disciple your kids or your grandkids or see them come to faith. It's your responsibility. But the church comes alongside you and helps you in that endeavor and helps you in that journey. And for me, it was a safe spot. I knew that the kids were always being taught biblically, that they were getting a biblical worldview, that they were understanding the gospel. And the church honestly filled gaps. And given my discipleship skills at that time in my life, there probably were some pretty big gaps there that needed to be filled. And that's one of the things that the church does. It does that by caring for the kids. It does that by helping the parents learn how to disciple their kids, and it does that by giving opportunities for the grandparents to be a part of that. Everybody has a story, and I want, before I go, for my grandkids to know my story. And as they get older, I will tell them the things that I've experienced and my story with Christ. You know, the Bible tells us that there's multiple generations involved in discipleship. There's grandparents, there's children, there's children's children, there's children yet unborn, and that's just a continuum. And I know, looking at how he's managed his family and the things that he's doing and the man that he is, that my grandkids are in good hands.